Alright, welcome back to episode 3. We're going to be doing High-Wall Lothric today. I decided to do streaming at the same time as this because the last time I was trying to record, the game crashed, and unfortunately with the way the share feature works on the PlayStation, if the game crashes and I can't hit the share feature, it automatically deletes that previous video, and it doesn't let me save it. So if I stream it at the same time, Twitch will auto-save it, so if the game crashes on me, I don't lose my footage, and I can still get it off of Twitch. So that's the main reason why I'm broadcasting this at the same time. It's going to create probably some slight latency issues, but I'm not too terribly worried about that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So we just teleported. There's nothing really in this room. Step on out into the wonderful world with a bright-ass sky. Damn, that's bright. Alright, down the stairs. We're going to go left eventually, but we need to start off by going right, because off to the right is an item that we actually want a whole heck of a lot before we progress too much further. This guy's an archer, no big deal there. So the dogs are kind of a pain in the ass, but they're not actually the real concern. The real concern is this big fatty down there. I mean, granted, yeah, he's a skinny little skeleton, but the problem is he's carrying a massive hatchet, and that's what hurts. So we're going to try and pull the dogs one at a time, preferably. Remember, with dogs, all you gotta do is keep the shield up, and when they bounce off the shield will be your opening if you don't get one before that. Not a lot of souls, but these guys are still free souls, so I'll still take them. I really don't want to fight that guy and the dog at the same time. Looks like I can pull the dog before I can aggro him. Come on, leap again. Alright, cool. I got him. But now the other tall guy's coming through. Oh boy. I was gonna say come at ye, but come on, you're bad. We already know it. I really want to get a shield with better physical resistance, because right now blocking is going to fucking kill me anyways. I'm not too terribly excited about that. Hey, how's it going? This guy is the one that usually punishes me, because that attack right there, the delay he gives, I always end up dodging too early on, and he tends to hit me with it anyways, and it does a lot of damage, especially just starting out. But as long as you're watching for the awkward delay timing, then you're still going to just be fine. Usually I try and just bait out one of his bigger attacks and just dodge that and then go in for a couple swipes. But if you want to be more aggressive, you can. It doesn't make a huge difference. Alright, so up here, we need to immediately sprint to this guy right here and take him out before anything else. If you don't, he spews a bunch of the big black goo, just like Gundyr did. And it makes him really difficult to fight. If you can't get to him in time, back up, use fireballs. Don't hesitate, you still got him on you. Oh, you also got fire bombs too, I wasn't even thinking about that. But yeah, if you don't get to him in time, just back up, use fireballs at a distance. Go burn through your FP, that should be more than enough to kill him. This is what we came up here for. We want the longbow and we want the standard arrows. Those are very important to have out of the gates. And you'll see why here shortly. But yeah, no, we want to come over here and grab those real quick. And get ourselves some souls. Come down here, kill this guy. So we can grab this item. That's the elevator that we'll come back to later. For right now, we're going to go back up. The other queue sound like... I was going to say, the other queue sound like they're literally an enemy sitting right here. I just wasn't seeing them. Alright. So now we're going to run back up to the bonfire. We got almost 1,000 souls. We're going to pop the little soul thing that we just picked up. And that'll put us over 1,000. Alright, and now we're going to go back to Firelink Shrine. I know that seems kind of counterintuitive, but you'll see why in a second. Okay. So the main reason we came back to Firelink Shrine is because there's a couple key items we want to get early on. We're talking to her. You want to spend 500 and get your hands on the white soapstone. And when you get up to 2 grand, you want to be able to buy dried fingers. These are items that they aren't going to be terribly important right now, but you'll want them later on. The white soapstone is what you use to leave a co-op summon sign, and in case that doesn't spell it out clearly enough, it's essentially so that you can be summoned to somebody else's world. I know this doesn't sound terribly important out of the game, but if you and a friend are starting the game at the same time, you're both going to need it in order to be able to go back and forth to each other's worlds. Dried fingers is an item that allows you to... I mean, I know the description isn't very helpful because it just says should only be used with the greatest of caution. It basically increases your chance of getting invaded, but it allows you to summon more people. So if an area is only going to let you summon one person, dried fingers let you summon a second person, but it increases the odds of you getting invaded. If your area, some areas let you summon up to 2 people, and then dried fingers let you summon a third, so there's 4 of you running around. As you can probably imagine, 4 people versus 1 invader is still pretty heavily in your favor. It's not that big of a deal. But dried fingers you can wait on a little bit. You can get that whenever you get to it. It's not a big deal. But white soapstone you want to kind of get ASAP because it's going to be very helpful in that regard. But the main reason we came back, in all honesty, is if we scroll down here, there's arrows for sale. Wood arrows, just regular wood arrows. And we're going to buy a bunch of them. You don't need to buy 234. So for this example, I'm going to pretend like I bought the white soapstone, that 500 right there. Because in your case, that's probably what you would have done. You probably would have done the same thing that I did, where you went through all your souls, leveling up, and then you went and you came back and bought the white soapstone. So we're going to pretend I have 500 less souls. So with that in mind, that means we have 670 to spend. Okay, so with only 670 souls, I can only buy 134 arrows. I don't even need that much. Literally, you only need like 100. So I'll just make it an even 130. Boom. Okay. Because you can only carry 99 on you at a time. The rest of them just went into storage. So I just wanted to double check that's how much we needed or how much we could get out of it. And then other than that, we don't actually need anything else from her right now. I wouldn't mind having a homeward bone on me, but it's not terribly important for this. Yeah, unfortunately, the leather shield doesn't have better physical resistance either, so that's not going to do me any good either. Alright, so now that we've got those arrows, I'm going to go into our equipment, put on our bow. Unfortunately, I can't equip the bow yet. It requires 14 dexterity. Which I only have 9. So I'm curious if that'll still let me use it the way I think it will. Oh no, it'll still let me use it the way I think it will. So I need to... I think it just reduces the damage severely if I don't have a high enough level for it. Shoot. Okay, so the bow's going to do less damage. Hopefully not too little. I forgot what I was going to look at. So I got standard arrows and wood arrows equipped on me. So hopefully that'll be more than enough even with reduced damage. Oh, I know what I was going to look at. I was going to look at how many souls I need to level up. Uh, 1,800, okay. These guys are all pretty straightforward. They just swing out pretty aggressively. Take a little bit of damage, but block them. and you just swing right back. Although it's kind of hard to tell, there is actually a path on the upper walkway here. They'll take us up to where this dead dragon's wings are. And I should not have let him spring, because he's going to wake up all these other guys. Unfortunately, they're not actually the issue. The issue is there's a guy up on the stairs right here next to us that's throwing firebombs down. Alright, so once they're dealt with, if you get close to the stairs, it makes it difficult for him to throw them on top of you. Get up here. Binoculars, which are not terribly helpful, but thanks anyways. Desert trousers. Then we drop down right here. There's an item right here. Hang on, dead body. Gold pine resin. So gold pine resin will actually be super useful, not with this fight, or the next one, or the one after that, or the one after that. We won't actually need it for a while, but it'll be very helpful later on when we face some bosses that have a weakness to lightning, because gold pine resin is used to put a lightning buff on your weapon. Now comes the part I really don't care for. Playing with fire. Literally. These guys are pretty straightforward in that they like to use shields and wait for you to attack and then go in during the opening. But you can walk around faster than they can spin, so if you just spin until you're behind her and then swing, they'll usually do the damage you need. Alright. So now we gotta get... There we go. Angry Dragon. I mean, yeah, I don't get me wrong, it's a little scary getting shot at with the fire arrows, but that is much worse. I know it seems counterintuitive to just run straight into fire, but trust me, it's what you want to actually do. Because we want to get in here. Because in here is a chest. Although I don't need to read the notes in order to tell you that it's not a very friendly chest. So I'm rolling around to clear out a bunch of this debris and whatnot beforehand. Just so it's one less thing to distract me once things actually get going here. This chest is a mimic. And the way you can tell is the chain. So when a chain is curled out towards you, it's a mimic. When it circles in on itself back towards the chest, it's not. The other way you can tell is that the chest, if you look very carefully at the lips right there, is breathing. And unfortunately, it's hard to see because you got to get the gap just right. There you go, you can see it there. It breathes really slow, so you have to actually watch it for a second. But it's also one of those things, if you're not looking at it from the right angle, you don't even see the chest movement. And then, of course, the other way that you can do it just to be safe rather than sorry is just smack it. So mimics are actually very difficult to deal with. The one part about them that's actually really nice, though, is a lot of their moves are very easily dodged. So for this case, our fireballs are going to do a lot more damage than any of our attacks will. But just basically with mimics, keep in mind that almost all of his attacks are really easily dodged if you just go to your left, his right. Considering mimics are something you'll run into multiple times throughout the game, even if you're not good or you get killed by him the first time, I recommend continuing to fight him so you get better, because with the way mimics are, and like I said, the fact that you run out to them throughout the game, you're going to want to be better at them and used to dealing with them. Make sure no matter what, I mean, yeah, mimics hit really hard, but make sure no matter what, you definitely dodge that grab right there. As you can see, all I'm doing is walking to dodge it, but you always want to dodge that grab, specifically because that grab is the one that makes him pick you up and chomp on your face, and that hurts a lot. Alright, we got our deep battle axe, which I love because it jumps us from a normal axe to a deep battle axe, which I know doesn't mean a whole lot. However, one of the things that you'll notice is that our physical goes down, right? Because for the regular battle axe, we have 110 plus 11, which is the 110 physical it does, plus 11 physical for the skill bonus. When we switch to the deep battle axe, it also does 96 dark damage. So what you're looking at when you hit triangle and switch to your player stats for R1 weapon is 121. That 121 is our physical for the 110 base plus 11, right? When we switch to the deep battle axe, it's 96 physical plus 96 dark. Now, the only reason this is even relevant is because we still have our pyromancies on us, and we still have some firebombs on us. So there's a couple enemies in the area that dark doesn't really work against, and that's, if I remember correctly, I want to say that is specifically the black goo things that like Gundyr had, because there's another guy that we'll run into that has that same issue. But other than that, everything else is neutral to dark. It doesn't have any strong resistance to it or anything like that. So instead of just doing, 120 damage, most of the stuff we're going to be hitting with 192 damage. So it's one of those things that we're going to be doing dark damage additional, but all the enemies in this area aren't really going to notice. And by the time we finish this area, we're going to be getting a different weapon to go forward from there anyways. So we're going to go ahead and just grab this deep battle axe. Alright, now that we've gotten our deep battle axe, we will go ahead and open up this gate, just to make our lives a little bit easier. And then we're going to go back out to where the dragon was. So this dragon is super annoying and a big old pain in the butt, but we're going to get rid of him. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand here and we're going to do a test to see where we're allowed to stand. We're going to switch to our bow. Just going to wait for the fire to go by again, double check where we're standing. Because even though he doesn't breathe in this close, the fire still spreads closer than he breathes. We're going to pull out our bow. I'm going to shoot him in the wing. Now, what I'm doing for the bow is I'm hitting triangle to two-hand it, and then I'm holding L1 to aim manually. And then I'm hitting R1 to fire. When you aim manually and then let go like this, the character will continue to fire in that exact pattern, as long as you don't move it. Okay, so we're doing very, very little damage. With that in mind, we're going to come back once I get some more dex. So what we'll do is we'll have to boost our dexterity to, 14 to use the longbow. So we'll need to go up 5 levels to do that. And then once we do that, we can come back and basically use that same trick I was just showing you to kill the dragon. And what it is you don't kill him necessarily. You get him down to about 2/3 health, and then at that point he flies away. And you still get like the Titanite shard and whatnot as if you had killed him. This guy's been one of our first real tests here. Unfortunately, Lothric Knights are a bit difficult to deal with at this level. Primarily just because you don't have the armor to tank their fucking hits. I don't really have any great advice for these guys, other than if you can get them to charge at you, they tend to do no more than a 3-swing combo, and that's usually your opening at that point. I don't recommend coming in close for a block, because like you saw, they'll do a shield bash, and the shield bash just takes out all your stamina. I do highly recommend essentially doing what I'm doing now. Take your time, you keep circling around, try and learn his moveset. Because unfortunately, it is still pretty basic. However, the sword he uses is where his moveset comes from, and that sword is very popular in the game because it's actually really strong in PvP. I struggled more than I would have liked to, but we still beat him. And we got a crossbow. Cool. So a little bit of purple you're seeing on these guys when I hit them is the dark. If you just run by this guy and go straight to the right, he throws daggers at your backside. So what we're going to do is take him out first. Come out here, get the item, which is more fire bombs. Woo. And then don't worry about the guy down below. We're going to go right back, and we're actually going to go up. And up here is our next bonfire. Now, we could go back to the Firelink Shrine, level up if we want to, but I know for a fact, if it's already 18 for the first level, that's definitely not enough for 5 levels. I don't think we've picked up any more soul items. Oh, we have. We picked up 3. That's only going to be 600 souls, so we'll just pop those real quick just to have them. We want to get to about 10,000 at least, if not 11, before we head back to try and get the bow. Before we head back to try and level up our dexterity to 14 so we can use the bow. Yeah. But even if we come back after finishing this zone, we can still take care of it. So I don't really want to fight the knight again, so if I'm just going to sit here for a second, he'll actually walk out. Once he walks out, you're pretty much safe. As long as you don't like come sprinting through the second he goes through the door. And actually give him a second to walk out, because he walks out and he walks down the stairs, and then once he does that, he's pretty much goes back and forth really slowly on the stairs. There's a second guy in this area. The first guy you can try and drop down on from above with the wood because he does this little patrol down these barrels right here. But whatever you do, try and make sure you get the advantage on him because those barrels are explosive, and if I remember correctly, when they throw stuff, they will detonate them. So you can see the big guy right here. If I remember correctly, I want to say there's another one of those little dagger throwers off to the side. That's kind of what we want to avoid. So I don't know if you caught it, but I did a roll forward. I locked onto him from above because of the line of sight, and then I rolled forward and then hit R1 to do a plunging attack to make sure I hit him. And that's how I did most of that damage right out of the gate. If you can, try and get a plunging attack no matter what, but it also might be easier to just come in from the other side of the gap and do it that way, because sometimes he does shift over a little bit. For this area right here, honestly, you can see the head of the guy right there, but all those barrels are explosive, so you're going to want to sprint past them and go straight at the guy before he has a chance to throw the first firebomb. And once he's dead, just roll through these all to make sure you don't accidentally set him off yourself when a fireball or something. Get some free throwing knives out of it. There's a guy to our left. Another item. And then down here is Geralt. No. Yes? No. I'm pretty sure I'm confusing him with the dude from The Witcher right now, but I know his name starts with a G, alright? We'll free him in a minute. Now that we've cleared the path to him, we're going to go get the key for him, and then we'll come back and free him. But he's a merchant who goes back to Firelink Shrine, and the main reason that we want to free him is because he sells this Zweihandler, and considering that weapon is in many other games, you can kind of already guess what it is. There's going to be 2 skeletons coming up the ladder, I think, or there's a couple coming over the ledge right here. If you hit the guy while he's still climbing over, he falls down, makes it real easy to deal with him. Okay, so it was actually not good that I fell because now I'm out of stamina. I feel like I missed one. Like oh no, that would make 2 total, huh? Shut up. These guys are noisy. Alright. So, took care of that guy, took care of that guy. Alright, so from over here, you can see the people in the circle on the roof over there, right? The high arch point of the roof, one of those two, I want to say it's the one that's actually in the middle, because it looks like there's three people right there. One's in the like fetal position, head down, and there's a guy facing to the right, and then a guy facing away from us. I want to say it's the guy facing to the right in the middle of the other two. That is the one we need to look out for. He's the one that transforms, if I remember correctly. So what we're going to do is we're literally going to sprint straight in, just like the other guy, try and take care of him before he can transform. Again, if they transform, back up, use fireballs, don't get close. Just like with Gundyr, very weak to fire, makes it really easy to deal with. Alright, so that's that, and that's a slash. Alright. This is going to be one of our first crystal lizards. These guys run away and then try and teleport away. What you want to do is you want to chase them into a wall, and then you're going to mash R2. The reason you mash R2 is because if you hit R1 to do a swipe, you're going to bounce off the wall. If you do an R2, and you're standing a little bit further back, you're more likely to actually get it through. As you saw, I didn't actually get him to the point. I got to the point where he started doing that little, like, doing the wave motion. Doing the wave is how they get away. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, axes are not great for getting them because of the way that you do your swipes and that even your R2, like, has a chance of bouncing off the wall. But no, later on, when we start using great swords, the R2 is usually a thrust. And the thrusting attack is really good for getting them because you just stab straight at them when you're locked on. Alright, yeah, that fatty down there, believe me, I am not looking forward to fighting that guy. And I doubt you will be either. Woo! Anyways, go ahead and slide down the ladder. Alright, so we are going to go that way, but first let's go deal with this asshole. Oh look, he brought a friend. Like I said before, you can hit these guys before they get over the railing, they just fall down. The concerning part is that he's coming back up. Because apparently they don't take fall damage, which is just super annoying. And now he's dead. Alright. I don't know if there's a reason to come down here. I want to say there is, because I want to say, yeah, there's a guy down here that doesn't wake up right away. Oh, make that too. And I take them out because later on when I fight the big guy, because we're going to basically go around and come in from a different direction, but later on when we fight the big guy, we want to make sure that the area is clear and we're not going to get stabbed in the back, essentially. Now comes the part where, honestly, if you've done pretty well up to this point, you're probably going to die. Because this next part is actually not all that easy. We're going to actually, I spoke slightly too soon, take out that guy. Roll through. There's one right here behind the urns. And then we can deal with the archer up top. There's a guy to our right as we go through. And then I want to say one more climbs up the railing. Yep. No, no, no. Alright, that was my stupid. I should have just blocked. And of course our Estus doesn't really heal much of anything at the moment, but that's okay. Get a Titanite shard out of this, which is for upgrading weapons, which we'll come back to later. Grab this item. And this is the part where I said we're probably going to die. See, I want to spin on his shield side, because spinning on the spear side makes him swing with the spear. Problem is, like you saw when you spin on his shield side, he constantly smacks you with the shield. If you block it, you take all of that stamina and just throw it out the window. And if you don't block it, it still staggers you, so it makes it very hard to get behind him. You can circle on the shield side. It makes taking out the shield, the spear knights pretty straightforward. But as you'll see later on, they're very often not alone. Occasionally you do get them alone like this, which is great for intros, but usually they're not alone, and that doesn't make it easy. I want to say that note is literally telling us about a path to the right. which it is, but I don't think this is the path we want to take just yet. I mean, we still want to run down here and grab the item, because woo, free stuff. Yeah, this has a drop down that we don't want to do just yet. If you do the drop down right out of the gate, it will get you killed, because it's going to essentially drop you in the middle of a bunch of guys. And now, coming back, you can actually see that there's a guy waiting for us right here. So literally just roll past the door. I think if I had waited to roll just a second longer, I actually probably would have avoided that stab too. And just get the item in the back. It's broadsword, which is nice, but that's not quite what we're going for just yet. Come down here. We're not going to worry about the stairs just yet. Instead, we're going to come over here. Take out this guy. Introduce ourselves to this guy. This one, as I said before, if you check the chains, which I actually just covered up by destroying that box, but you can see the chain sort of still is curling back towards the chest. Also, checking for breathing, and then last but not least, we smack it, just to be sure. And we're going to get a better shield, which actually I think we're going to put on because I think this shield actually has what I need. And it does. The East-West shield is only slightly better for physical resistance. What I'm looking at right now is the 100% physical. That means that when I block a physical attack, I do not take damage, which is great, because 90% of the time when you're blocking, it's a physical attack. Most of the magic, fire, lightning, dark attacks, you don't block, you dodge those. So it's really important when you're looking at your shields that unless you're going up against a boss that you specifically know has like weapons charged with that kind of damage, just focus on getting good physical resistance, because that's what you're going to want. Alright, now time to deal with all of these guys. We're going to pull out our bow that we still can't use, but that's okay. For this point, we're using it for a lure. So even though we don't have the bow leveled up enough to do a bunch of damage with it, hitting somebody with an arrow will still draw them and them alone. And I'm sorry, I just totally fucked this up. Block. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm literally swinging before he hits the shield, and I'm screwing myself. Ugh, that was stupid. What is wrong with our face? Ugh, we're all sorts of dirty. We look like we literally stuck our head in a fireplace, got all covered in charcoal. Anyways, as I was saying though, even though the bow doesn't have any real damage to it right now, that's okay. You can still make these guys stop what they're doing and come and play with me. That was a huge opening that he just left. Alright, so as I was saying before about not wanting to drop down onto that rafter, it's because that rafter literally drops down right there at the beam at the top of the stairs. You can sort of see the gap in the railing from here, but yeah, that's literally where it falls down. So you have those two guys there, and then even though you can't see it, there's a dog at the bottom of those stairs. So yeah, no, it's not a good place to drop down. We're going to go ahead and... Okay, that's not what I wanted. There we go. We're going to go ahead and lure one. Go back up the stairs just because there's a little bit better spacing. Hit 3 times, and we got to back up for stamina regen. He bounced off the shield. So we're going to take advantage of that and smack him a couple more times. Now we're going to get this guy's attention. Three hits, and then I'm stopping. Letting him go again. 3 hits, and then I'm stopping. The main reason why I'm doing 2 or 3 hits and then stopping at that point is because I don't want to overexert myself on the stamina, and I need to make sure that I still have enough to roll away in case he decides to do like a quick slash as soon as I step back, which can occasionally happen. And even though you can kind of hear him, you'll see in a second, doggy. I hate how far they fly back. Alright, he's gone. There's the cell key. This is going to be an Estus shard. Now we can run back up. Run all the way around. Drop down. I could have swore there was an item up here, but I guess not. So, never. Oh, yeah, no, there's a chest right here. And there you go. You get a better view of the chain now and the way it circles back in on itself. I stored a straight sword. If you want to use it, cool. If not, that's okay too. Alright, so we are going to go this way eventually. I could have swore there was an item up here, but now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I think it's actually right below me. And what we do for this part is we essentially use the bow to lure Fatty over there to right underneath us, and then we do a plunging attack. So we get lots of damage right out of the gate, and it's not too big of an issue. But instead of doing that, we're going to actually backtrack real quick because we got the cell key. And if you're anything like me, you will totally space to go free that dude if you don't do it now, when you get the cell key. So, and free him.
No, you not remark below the hob, not the hob and all, please. I'll be sure. I would use. Very well.
Grant his request.
I am. Give this ring tool to you.
And then he teleports to Firelink Shrine. Alright, let's go piss off a Fatty. See if we can't get him to come on over. We're gonna aim in for the path he's gonna walk. Get his attention. This will make him run over. Yep, he swings. And once I can get the lock on, is when I drop in. Unfortunately, I may have just killed myself because I missed the stairs, which are right here, to climb out of this little alley, and that almost just got me killed. Not even gonna lie. Alright, I need this guy dealt with. So I know he's really intimidating, but you want to roll through the halberd, smack him in the back. He almost always does 2 strikes, and that like he'll swing once and then swing again, and that usually is when your opening is. But as you saw, the main reason we did the drop attack is it took half his health for us right then and there. Made our lives super easy. A couple of embers lying around this circle in the middle, and then I want to say this is a rapier. Yeah, that was a damn good guess. Pat myself on the back for that one. Alright. Gonna go ahead and pop our last Estus. There's a guy right here on this corner. Take care of him real quick and then move up to take out the archer. If you come up here, there's an item here. And then I want to say that's a ring of sacrifice. The jump is a little tricky, I won't lie. So I'll try it once, but unfortunately if you mess it up, this fall is just far enough to make you take damage. So it's one of those things that I don't recommend this until after you open the shortcut we're about to open. Like I said, I'll try it once, but I'm not going to try it again because I don't want to keep hemorrhaging damage. Because what happens when you come up here is you get ambushed by like 5 guys. Alright, now the ambush that I totally botched before, we'll do this a lot smarter. Go ahead and take out this guy. So I won't lie, that's actually a really cheeky way to do it, because the guys that jump over the ledge can all be one-shot with this axe. If you can line it up and do all 3 of them at once like I just did, super helpful. Don't recommend getting yourself killed over getting that done though. Better, what I was actually trying to do, even though I got really lucky with that, was just take out these 2 on the side, and then you step back and you can just wait for the other guys to lunge at you and take care of them. It's a much safer way to do it. I know, who wants to be safe? And I know, I can't help it. I see a bunch of boxes and barrels, I gotta roll through them. So we're gonna go ahead and activate this elevator and we're gonna ride it up, because as you saw before, in order to actually open up the shortcut, we have to open up that gate. And there's also an item up here. So we'll go ahead and open up the gates. Come around the back side, grab that item, and head back down. Now what we're going to do is, while we're riding the elevator, we're going to slowly shift to the very back of this. So when we land, you'll see the button come back up. Then we're going to step on it as we step off, and that sends the elevator up. So next time I die, I can teleport to that other bonfire and just run on over to the elevator and come down that. And it'll already be up for me, so even if there's enemies chasing me, I can just ride it down right away and not have to worry about the enemies. Alright, so we still got 4 Estus, so I still feel pretty comfortable going forward here. I don't quite want to backtrack just yet, although I get a feeling we're going to have to before actually facing the boss once. So we're just going to go ahead and push on a little bit more. Grab an item. Because now comes the part that's actually really kind of shitty here. We got 2 knights, 2 Lothric knights, and frankly, I don't really want to fight them solo. So this is actually going to be a good chance to do this. We got embers from walking on this bonfire, so we got 4 embers on us, and we gotta be careful not to waste these, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use 1 here, and the reason we're gonna do that is because there's an NPC right here to summon. Lion Knight Albert. Now, Lion Knight Albert isn't any particularly special character. You'll run into him once very much later in the game, but other than that, this is really the only time you see him. But we're gonna go ahead and summon him. Then once we summon him, we're going to pull out our bow and see if we can't piss one of these knights off. Shooting past the knight gets them to stop, and that makes it really easy to shoot him in the back. And then now that this guy's charged up here, Lion Knight's going to get his attention. And then you two can just wail on him with axes. And voila! We took out one of the Lothric Knights without having to take a whole lot of damage, which is really nice. Now we're going to take out the other one. So the important thing I want to cover here with the Lothric Knights, that the main reason I brought in Lionheart to take them out is because we only need to get through them once. Right now, you can farm them for better gear, better weapons and whatnot. They have actually some rather nice drops. But at the end of the day, we only need to take them out once because we need to talk to Emma, who is the woman in the church behind them. So what we're essentially doing is we're going to take them out once with Lionheart, so we get the items that's with them, and get to talk to Emma. And then after that, we won't have to worry about them. We'll be able to just run on by. Come on, Lionheart, swing, please. There we go. Oh. Nice! He staggered him and I got a visceral off of it. Sweet. Anyways, taking that one out, let's just grab this item, which is a lucerne, which is essentially a funny shaped name for a battle cross, because that's exactly what the fuck it is. And then there's one more up here, who this one's a commander, and this is the one that actually makes me nervous that he's still gonna pawn us, despite the fact that I have Lionheart with me. The other part that's kind of hard about doing this with Lionheart is gonna alert him. Okay, he buffed his weapon, so now we're going to get super aggressive, and then we're going to run the hell away, because that's going to hurt like hell if it hits us. And I'm not afraid to let Lionheart tank it. I don't know how that didn't hit us, but okay. Yeah, see what I mean? Lots of damage from that thing. Could you go and stab the other guy, please? Please? Thank you. And this is something that you're actually going to find very often. Oh, we got Lothric Knight Armor. That's actually super helpful. Although I haven't bothered to put anything on yet. But this is going to be one of the common trends you see with a lot of fights that I do, is that I'll summon an NPC to help me out, and then I'll just use the NPC to essentially get me that breather, that space, where they'll pull the aggro off me so I can heal, and then I'll go right back in to take it off them so they can heal, and so back and forth. So real quick, pointer for talking to Emma. Take your hands off the R1 and R2 buttons. L2 as well. Don't even have your hands on the triggers. Because if you hit her, it will start a late game boss fight. Now granted, I think you have to hit her literally 2 or 3 times actually to do it. But still, you don't want to risk it. Because if you start a late game boss fight in here, you will get destroyed. Anyways, you talk to her, she gives you a small Lothric banner. And then you talk to her some more and she gives you way of the blue. And then you can talk to her and she keeps saying the same shit over and over again. Now, the reason this is helpful. The Lothric banner is something that we'll come back to in a minute because that's literally just something to get us from here to there after this boss fight. But we're going to come over here. Covenant. Covenants is something that when you put yourself to a covenant, you get the perks of that covenant. So most of the covenants aren't really going to be relevant for this. For most covenants, they play around with the PvP, and considering how long the game's been out, the PvP is not too very prevalent in the game anymore. Way of Blue is different. Way of Blue is the covenant that when you're in and you get invaded, it automatically starts searching for one of 2 covenants, Blades of the Dark Moon or the Blue Sentinels. Anybody running the Way of the Dark Moons or the Blue Sentinels can be summoned to a player in the Way of Blue Covenant. Because what the Way of the Blue Covenant is essentially you're calling for a helper anytime you get invaded, and essentially all you gotta do is try and run away until it summons a Blue Sentinel or a Blue Blade of the Dark Moon to help you out. It depends on where you are in the world. That depends on which it summons. So that's the main reason why you really want to get that Way of the Blue, and you put that on right away, so if you get invaded, you're good to go. Also, keep in mind that there are NPC invaders that just come across at certain points, so if you're playing offline specifically to avoid invaders, and you still get invaded, that's probably what it is. Alright, so we're going to come down here real quick. There's an archer on the right. There's a couple of shieldy boys that Lionheart's going to get super aggressive with. And then, just because we happen to get lucky enough to kill the Master Swordsman before, he's here too. So we're going to go ahead and summon him. Why not? Now we're going to have Lion Knight Albert and the Master Swordsman. Normally I wouldn't bother summoning the Master Swordsman because he's not really necessary, but the only reason why I'm going to is because I know for a fact Lionheart already used an Estus Flask, which means he's already down a heal, and then I could have swore he just used a second one too. So I already know that he's going to be real kind of quick to die. And then this is the boss arena for Vort. You got to run almost all the way to the back of it before he spawns in, though. And you know it's the boss arena because when you look back, they're still stuck at the door. A smarter strategy, in all honesty, would be to melee him until he gets into his second phase. And you'll know when he gets into his second phase because he starts emitting this cloud of smoke. And that's when you really need to actually start worrying about him. The other thing you'll notice too is that right now in his first phase, I'm able to roll through most of his attacks. I kind of wanted him out of the corner, but okay. There's also a significant damage difference, so we're gonna sit in back for a minute here. Jeez, I'm picking really bad times to try and get in close here. Alright, so that's how you know he's entered the second phase. He just basically put his mace down and screamed. And I'm already out of healing items. Wow, that's fun. Alright, so we're going to pull out our fireballs. Wait for him to stop charging around like a fucking jackass. Well, I like that attack because it let me cast 4 freaking fireballs on you, but now I've got your sole attention. I should have been hit by that. I won't even lie. Oh, I should have been hit by that too. So I'm trying to stay back. Just let these guys handle him. The charge, in all honesty, is really concerning because if he targets me with it again, I'm pretty sure he's going to get me. And I'm going to struggle with dodging that. But for the most part, I let these two go back and forth with taking his attention back and forth. And just kept throwing fireballs. That's not normally the way to fight him. Normally I get in there and I'm very aggressive with him, and it's a lot more challenging because I use a lot more of my actual skill with it. But I wanted to do it this way because I felt like this was a more beginner-friendly way, because we already practiced using the fireballs on everything when we were with Gundyr. That's a way to use fireballs to take care of forts. The other way to deal with him is generally literally just get in behind him, just keep rolling into his stomach and his attacks, because a lot of his attacks cause him to step forward. And when he does that, just basically keep smacking him in the back. Alright, so now that we've beat him and the doors opened up, we are ready to move on to the next area. But before we wrap up this video, we are going to go back to the Firelink Shrine. I can't think of the word, I'm sorry. So, and this is where it's kind of important to have the white soapstone. Because if you wanted to now be summoned into a friend's world to get more souls, or to be summoned and possibly get summoned by a random person, you'd put your sign right outside the door, where Swordmaster's sign was, essentially. Alright, so now we have the items for it, we want, or the souls for it, we want to level ourselves up to 14 to get the dex that we need for the bow. And that's going to leave us with 400 souls. Mind you, I got extra souls because having to run back through that area and kill those couple extra guys. In order to get the same point, you might have to kill some extra guys, unfortunately. It is a bit of a bummer. But the other cool thing that we got was the Estus Shard, which would come down here to Andre, and we go to Reinforce Estus Flask. We can reinforce Estus Flask, just the once.
Be careful.
Yeah. Shut up. Then we run back, and we're going to hit the bonfire real quick because this is going to top off our Estus. And now we carry 6, which is very helpful. And then also, what's his face should be here? Yes, the thief that we freed.
Oh, what is...
We're going to purchase an item. We're going to look real quick. Longsword, bastard sword, mace, spear, light crossbow. So longsword is what I was planning to switch to, in all honesty. The biggest issue I have with it is I'm pretty sure that I'm actually holding on to right now from my drops something similar.
Goodbye. Oh, this...
It also dawned on me that he doesn't actually sell the Zwei Handler until after one of the other zones that he goes through. So that's my bad. I freaking spaced on that. So for right now, I think we're stuck with the deep battle axe, unfortunately. But the longbow is no longer out of our reach, which is really nice. There's something else I was going to get from him, and I don't remember what it was. Oh well, I'm not going to worry about it right now. Also, he is the only NPC that sells fire arrows, so if you ever want to use fire arrows instead, which, you know, they do fire damage instead of just base damage, he's who you come to, and he's the only one, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and go back to the tower, right? Because she doesn't sell. Yeah, she doesn't sell anything different. Alright, so if we look at our inventory real quick, we got some souls to pop, which you can also use to get to where you need to for the levels. Pop these. And then since we defeated a boss, we now have the soul of that boss. We don't want to get rid of this. We want to actually save this, because later on we'll get a way to actually do something with that that'll actually be very helpful to us. It also looks like if you hadn't gotten the souls that you needed, that little boost from those two things would have gotten you to where you need to be. And we're now up to level 21. The 14 dexterity, yeah, it's kind of a bummer because it would have been nice to be putting that trade into like strength and starting to work in that field, because that's the build we're going for. But the 14 dex to do the bow is actually really nice, because now we're going to go ahead and travel back to the tower. we're going to go slay a dragon. Because if you remember, there's a bunch of items right there at the top that the dragon was breathing fire on. You may have seen them, you may have not. Don't know for sure either way, but yeah, no. That's the main reason why we're going to backtrack here. So we come down, we're going to watch the knight go through the door, and then we're going to kill that other guy. And then, if you watch just the ever so slightly the corner right here, you can see the knight go down the stairs. And that's exactly what we're looking for, because we're going to use that to run straight across. Dragon's still up there. And then we're going to step out right here. And this is what you actually have to be really careful about, because even though the dragon's breathing fire, he doesn't breathe it right away. And some of the enemies will still come rushing in on you. It also looks like we didn't step far enough out to get him to actually breathe fire up here. Okay. So now that we're good. So if you saw before, we were doing 9 damage. So now let's try this. 54. Beautiful. That's exactly what we need. Now we're just going to sit here and we're going to mash R1 for a bit. I'm going to go ahead and just cut to when this works. Okay. So that last arrow I didn't really need fire, but I cut it around 94. Going to come back in around 60 because at arrow 58 he flew off and we got a large Titanite shard. Large Titanite shard is really helpful because I believe that's what's gonna help us get to +4, I think it is. Hey! There we go. There's a nice strength weapon for us that we can't wield yet. So now our goal is going to be to get to strength 16 so we can wield the claymore, because the claymore will be close to what we're doing damage wise for the battle axe, but it'll be in the area of what we're actually going for souls wise and build wise. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and run back to the tower bonfire. Although, mind you, the knight's going to be back now. Don't stab me, please. We're going to travel to Vort's bonfire. And now we're going to go through the open doors, and this is where that Lothric banner we got from Emma comes in. Because if you don't have that, this doesn't work. Come down right down here to the little point, and you hit raise banner. And it's going to summon some Valkyrie, harpy looking creepy things to come pick us up and take us to the undead settlement. And as soon as we land an undead settlement, that's where I'm going to end this video right here. And then we will start the next video at the start of the undead settlement, which is, you know, right there. Yeah, those will never cease to be creepy. Anyways, you can watch the cutscene on your own. Undead settlement. And we'll get the first bonfire right here, just be safe in case I fuck everything up. Alright, until next time. Hope you enjoyed the High Wall of Lothric.